Hi everybody, welcome to my latest video. I'm absolutely exhausted because I've just finished up work in the garden, and when you watch this video you're gonna find out why I'm so tired, because I've been absolutely going for it in the garden over the past several days, and today was another full day, but the results are amazing and I can't wait to share them with you. So let's get into the video and I'll see you again at the end. So though I've been making loads and loads of progress lately in the garden, the great sense of overwhelm that comes at this time of year is ever present, and I'm just always aware of the seedlings creeping ever and ever taller. And so I decided to put the camera away and focus on repotting things in the polytunnel, and that really does take quite a bit of time. I had grand plans to do loads and loads of repotting, but then realized I don't have that many pots, so I switched focus and took some of the cucumbers down into the garden in an effort to get them planted so that I could at least use those pots to repot other things so that I could continue doing the repotting dance and just shuffle things around. But the weather took a turn and it started to get cold, and then it started to rain, and I just kind of lost interest. So I did move a few things down into the garden. I had grand plans to do stuff, and instead I retreated back inside and did some computer work. So it ended up being a pretty pathetic start to my massive plan to work in the garden, but I got some computer work done, said hello to the cats, and rested up for what was going to be a really busy coming few days. Hello guys, from a sort of hazy, slightly humid day, but it still is quite beautiful out there. It's actually 2 days from the last time I was filming. I decided to keep the camera off yesterday as well and just try to power through stuff because everything just takes so long, and though it does take ages to do each thing, I'm finally starting to see some progress, and I'm going to walk you through all the stuff that I got done yesterday, and it's been big changes. Some of the recent changes in the garden are definitely more subtle than others, especially when it comes to planting. I had a few extra corn seedlings, and so I decided to put them into the bed because someone in my comments suggested that corn could perhaps be planted a little bit more close together. So I figured I have the seedlings, why not stick them in and see what happens. I also got radish seeds in between all the spaces in the corn for some extra ground cover, and just to have radishes. Why not maximize the space? And yeah, just do it all as a big experiment and see what happens. And so this garden bed here is absolutely round with stuff. I've got basil, butternut squash that should crawl on the ground, radishes that generally come up in a few weeks to be harvested, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, so they should be gone by the time the squash is crawling too much. I've got parsley over here, which is going to be the shady side of the bed, and then flowers sort of interspersed around. So it's going to be very interesting to watch. I also got some oregano in here. And yeah, this bed is going to be very fascinating to see how it grows and to see how well it does. So these are the seeds that I got in. Some radishes are in there. And I also decided to put some beetroot in between the sunflowers. So as they go taller, the beetroot should start popping up and should have plenty of sunlight to get going. So in many of these spaces here, there's probably about 20 or maybe even 30 beets planted amongst the sunflowers. The ants are looking like they're liking them. This is my most anti bed over here, so it'll be interesting to see how everything does. Maybe the ants will eat the beet seeds. I don't know if that's a thing that happens, but yeah, it'll be just interesting to see how it all goes. And I really love beets, and so if I can harvest some beets out of this bed as well as have the beautiful sunflowers, that's going to be amazing. So after a flurry of planting activity, I headed over to my carrot garden bed, which was completely overrun with carrots that I had not thinned out when I was supposed to. So I pulled them up, and I was pleasantly surprised with some of them that were reasonably big. Most of them were really small, but still very tasty. So it was nice to see some of the carrots worked out. I also pulled up what I thought was garlic, but actually turned out to be spring onions. So I don't really remember planting onion at all. But yeah, somehow it got in there. So it's kind of funny how quickly and easily you forget what you actually do months prior. All of this was probably planted in around November, December. And so I've definitely forgotten what happened. And it's just nice to see that stuff did happen because I didn't really give it much attention. I don't love having a winter garden because I'm usually so burnt out after my summer garden. But yeah, it looks like it was successful. We've got that carrot there that looks like it's pretty big, but I'll keep that in for a while. Actually, you know what? Let's pull it up because it looks like the ants are after it. So this one could be a beaut. Fairly unimpressive, a little bit stubby, but that looks like a pretty fine carrot if you ask me. So the carrots were a pleasant surprise, and I also pulled up a few onions and what I guess are baby garlics. And yeah, it's just really fun to pull things out of the soil. I always love the soil vegetables, the root vegetables the most, because it's just like a little surprise each time you pull something up. And yeah, some of the carrots were okay. Some of the carrots were teeny tiny, and some of them I don't even know if I call that a carrot. So it's basically been very rewarding, and now that I've thinned the bed, I'm hoping that the rest of the carrots in there thrive. And then since the polytunnel seedlings are going nuts, I decided it's probably time to actually prepare a bed. So I pulled up a couple of straggler onions and decided to bring up some compost and prepare a garden bed for my cucumbers probably. I've laid them all out here as you can see. I think I need to check how closely I can plant them together. I don't remember. My plan is to get some cucumbers going. I'm gonna build a trellis. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. Probably just some posts going straight up with bits going along and then a fence in between. I could also do it so it's angled. I don't know yet. But basically, these guys are looking like they're ready to go in, and I want to get them going into the ground as soon as possible. I've also got lots of dill that I'll plant in the middle and maybe even on the outside as well, because dill and cucumber go well together. And as you can see, I put a board on the side just to stop the soil from going everywhere. That's my goal, getting at least one level of board around all of my beds at some point soon, because having the soil fall everywhere is kind of annoying. So this bed is looking really nice, and I'm gonna get these in the ground today or maybe tomorrow. And so my favorite of all of the garden improvements from yesterday is definitely my lime tree. I've cut back the comfrey and I've managed to line the bed with some stones, and I think it looks really, really fabulous. It's something I've been meaning to do for very long, and I feel like it's turned out a lot better than I could have expected. Don't need massive stones for this part. I think it's just a matter of just getting it edged and just looking kind of complete so that I can eventually line everything with geotextile fabric once I finish this, at least this beginning part of the wall, and get some wood chips down in the path. And I just think it's gonna look really amazing having the wood chips and then the stones along the beds. And as I mentioned, I think in my previous video, my intention is to eventually get all of the beds lined with stones. But for the moment, I probably only have enough stones to maybe do my plum tree bed over there. And if I'm really lucky, I might also get to this bed here. And then something that maybe isn't the most exciting thing, but it was very strenuous, was refilling this garden bed up with soil. And basically that's replacing all the stuff that I took from here to put into that double raised garden bed. And as you can see, it's pretty crappy soil and needs improvement, but this gives me a bit of a base layer to work with. And I'm gonna take some more compost from my bin down there. I think I have a little bit left. Put it in here as well, and have to pick up some stuff from the shops. But first, before I do anything like that, I'd like to edge the bed with some more wood, and that's a job for another day. And speaking of wood, I ended up moving it from this path that was in my way down to there, just moving the disaster to a different location. I also have comfrey in this bucket, and I'm gonna replant it around some of my trees, possibly on this terrace or maybe on the bottom terrace. And this is the spot where I took the soil to fill that other garden bed that I just showed you, basically using the enchetta to hack away at the edge of the garden bed, wheelbarrowing it over and dumping it down. And while doing that, I moved the pile of straw that had accumulated there, and I spread it over across my future wall of sunflowers just to mulch it and hopefully keep the sunflowers happy as they grow. And the last thing I did yesterday that I'm most excited about is putting wood chips down in the garden paths, anywhere where I've completed the edging. So I finished this wood bit. I've got a little piece of wood there. I've got these bits here, and I just feel like it's ready for some wood chips, and I'm eager to get as many wood chips down as I possibly can, because I think it's really going to change the way the garden looks. It's a massive improvement to see the paths covered up. The geotextile fabric looks really crappy. Obviously, a lot of it is still super weedy and needs a lot of work. I don't even know what's going on over there. That's definitely a problem for another day. But I've got some more buckets of wood chips down at Sinead's to bring up. And my hope is to finish off this bed here with stones and finish the beginning part of this bed at the very least and get wood chips down in the entrance and just make the garden a lot more inviting and a lot more complete looking. And so yesterday was hard work, but really fun, and it was lovely to finish the day off gazing down at the garden from the terrace above and just feeling like I accomplished a lot and got through a lot of jobs that I've been meaning to cross off my list for a very long time. So yesterday was great, but today is a new day and the work never ends. But luckily today I have the help of some friends. Thanks, guys! Time for coffee?
Yeah. Yes.
And so the guys arrived with some delicious pastries from the local cafe. I made us coffee. We had a lovely catch-up sitting on my porch. And then we got prepared for another IBC mission. This one had to go a little bit farther, down to Sinead's place. Thanks, guys. Go team. Billy and Roger are great friends of ours who live just up the road, and they run a wonderful accommodation business called Quinta de Barraquinha. It's where my parents stay when they come. It's where most people's parents stay when they come. It's lovely, and I thought I would take you around, show you some of the beautiful flowers that are in bloom. It really is a lovely time of the year, and the flowers are especially beautiful up at their place, up on the side of the gardenias. They keep the place immaculate. I love going there, and they've got two wonderful houses up above their own place, and they're selling. So for anybody who's interested in checking their place out, check the link above. They did a full tour with OK Portugal recently, and their place is also listed, and I'll give all the details in the description below. They've run Quinta de Barraquinha as a successful business for 10 years, and they're just looking for a change, but lucky for us, they're not moving away. They're going to stay in their house just below the two properties above. I think it's a fabulous opportunity, and if you're interested in knowing more, check out the links and get in touch with Billy and Roger with any questions. So it's about 6 p.m. and I really don't know where the day has gone. I was just down at Sinead's place enjoying a lovely meal, and I was gonna call it quits, but she's motivated me to keep going. She's down there pushing on, making a little sunflower wall of her own. Maybe you can hear her music. I can hear the neighbors doing something with a loud engine, and so I feel motivated to just keep going and to try to make a garden bed with stone for this plum tree behind me. It'll mean that I can finally get rid of this really annoying pile of rocks that's been here for a while, knock another job off my list, start to plan this garden bed, and feel like I've actually accomplished something today, because after such a busy day yesterday, besides moving some IBC tanks and having some coffee, really haven't done much. So I'm just gonna see if I can get this done tonight. So these larger stones are going to be for this taller section of garden bed, and I know I don't have enough stones to finish off the project, and I'd really like to get as many stones of this sort of medium size as possible, so I have more to choose from as I build the bed. So I'm going to take the wheelbarrow for a little trip around the property and hunt for some stones. So that was a bit of effort, and I'm tired, and I think it's good when you know when to quit. I'm out of energy, and I feel like if I stockpile the stones here, I can tackle this tomorrow with some renewed energy and hopefully a better plan of attack. There's really no point totally tiring myself out tonight when I can just tackle the job tomorrow. So I'll unload this wheelbarrow, and then got to give the garden and the polytunnel a good water, and I'll call it quits for the night because, yeah, it's been a good day. We got those IBC tanks moved, and I'm happy with that. And tomorrow is going to be another really full day of work in the garden, and I'm expecting to finally get some stuff planted into these beds. Hello from a beautiful, if a bit chilly morning, but it's perfect weather for hauling stones around. And that's my plan. My goal is to get all of these stones from the ground into their respective walls and out of my way. So I've got this trusty hammer in case I need to break anything. I've got my handy dandy safety shoes on. And the first order of the day is to snip this geotextile back because I'm going to make this bed larger, the path more narrow, and just have some more growing space because I don't really need a huge path here, and the more I can maximize the garden space, the better. So this geotextile stuff is really handy for keeping the weeds at bay, even though plants will grow through it. Having it down is definitely a lot better than not having it at all. And last year I tried to put sawdust down, which helped a bit, but I think the wood chips and the geotextile fabric are going to be the key to my success for not having to weed like crazy in the future. And anytime I can save myself some work, that's great, and weeding these paths in the garden is definitely something that takes up a lot of time. So this stuff is quite expensive, so rather than just folding it over and duplicating a layer, I'm chopping it off so I can use those little patches somewhere else. Okay, so I'm not going to be too crazy precise with this bed. I really wanted the lime tree one to fit together nicely because it's quite a feature, but this one I really just want to get it done, and I'm not so happy with my selection of stones. So I'm basically just going to make a circle or make an oval as best I can just to mark out the bed, and then this one here is going to take a lot more work because I want this to look very pretty. So first up, let's get to this bed. So I want to make this plum tree bed a bit wider and also a bit longer, and that means I have to do a little more geotextile surgery because it goes all the way to the edge of the previous bed. So I'm going to bust out the scissors, get that done, and then just crack on with the work. So this is where I'm at right now. I'll see you guys soon with hopefully a completed garden bed. Okay, after what has been a fairly solid effort in the hot sun that's baking down upon me, I love it. I really am very happy with this, and I think it looks great. And it's just nice to have something that feels more permanent in the garden. And yeah, I guess this is probably how it'll live for the rest of its days. I might try to replace some of these crappy lower stones with some better stones. But for the most part, I'm very pleased, and I think the plum tree and everything that grows in here will be very happy as well. But I do feel like there's something missing. Comfrey! Everybody who watches my channel knows how much I love comfrey. And if I can get 4 or 5 plants around the base of every single tree that I have, I'll be very happy. It's an amazing plant for so many reasons. Acts as a living mulch, brings good stuff up from the ground through its really long taproot. It makes a fertilizer, comfrey tea, and you can use it for medicinal purposes as well, but I don't know anything about that, so I definitely wouldn't mess around with that stuff. And that comfrey over here came from the comfrey over there, so it's actually very easy to split, and I've got loads of it around, and I'm just going to keep multiplying and multiplying and getting it all over the land because it's amazing stuff. But something else is missing too. That's better. I love straw. It's my favorite mulch, and yes, I suppose I'm a person that has a favorite mulch. I don't know what that says about me, but it's fabulous stuff. Normally I would put cardboard underneath this as well, but in this case, this is going to be a bed that has lots of strawberries. I'm going to pick up some more at the market on Monday, I think, and I believe strawberries like to crawl along and expand, so I'm afraid that if I put cardboard down, they won't be able to do that. So it's just straw for the strawberries, and that's it. So I'm hungry and I'm tired and I'm gonna stop for a break, but I'd say that's a pretty good effort for a morning of work. Haven't had lunch yet, and I definitely need to get some food into me to get more energized because I still have loads more to do. I want to get the wood chips down into the front of the garden where the entrance is, and I also want to get some of the big stones in place as well, and repotting and hopefully planting the cucumbers too. So still got lots ahead of me. But it's been a really lovely morning working on this garden bed, and I'm so happy with the results. Hello there. What do you think of the new garden bed? Are you gonna walk all over my strawberries the way you do the sunflowers? I think you are. All right, so time to eat. I'll see you guys soon for some serious stone hauling. So I'm back. I've had lunch and I've had a nap today actually as well. I haven't really been having too many naps these days, but today's work was quite strenuous and I just felt like I needed it. And before I get back down to the garden to move gigantic rocks around, I thought I would do a bit of procrastination, and instead of doing that, just spend some time in the polytunnel doing some repotting because I have lots of things that need to go into larger pots, but we'll do it the quick way. So the snap is fabulous for speeding things along in the filming, but is quite deceptive because all of this has taken me a couple of hours, and as you can see, I've gone crazy. I think I might have actually gone crazy, just to be honest with you. Like, no one needs this many seedlings, nobody needs this many different kinds of tomatoes, nobody needs 5 of each different kind of tomato, or more than 5. And still I have seedlings here, and I just can't let them go. I can't bring myself to thin them out and not repot them. Some of the straggler ones I've kind of been pulling out so that the other one can maybe grow bigger, but like, why? Why can't I just walk away? So I have lots of stuff to go in the ground eventually, and also to trade with friends and to give away. So I think Sinead and I are going to a plant swap thing in a couple weekends, or maybe next weekend, so perhaps all of this madness can come with us in the car, and maybe I'll be able to trade for some interesting things, because I definitely do have lots of great varieties of tomato and lots of interesting chilies as well. So I guess this is just another reminder that I am not a person with any level of self-control when it comes to seedlings. So I just have to, I guess, be happy that I don't have a polytunnel twice the size, because chances are I would just go completely ridiculous and fill the thing up. What do you think, Larry? Is that a ridiculous amount of seedlings in there? Do you have any opinions on such matters? You just like sitting on things once I put them in the garden, don't you? I'd much rather see you sitting up here on the little sand pile. All right, I'll leave you to go about your day and check in later on with you. Oh. Okay, I can pet you too. Come here, little guy. Larry loves Mikey so much. Anytime Mikey makes an appearance, Larry has to go over and greet him. And I think Mikey gets a little bit annoyed, but what can you do? So since I'm wandering over in this direction, I thought I would pause here at the two IBCs side by side. I think it looks great. Gives me a bit of storage under there. And once I connect these up, it'll be 2,000 liters of water, which is going to be, I think, perfect for the garden. And I'll get to the plumbing another day, because I've been focused a lot on the garden lately. And once I get this little flurry of activity done with the planting and the raised beds, I'm switching focus to the crack shack. And just continuing building that, because though the seedlings are growing quickly, I still don't think they're quite ready to go in the ground. And I've done quite a bit of garden prep, so I don't have so much more to do. And I think I can just pause the garden for a little bit and focus on the building. And I think I'm really excited for that. I know a lot of you guys out there are as well. So my last remaining task for the day is going to be putting a few of those rocks down at the end on the left side into place. But before I get to that, I have cucumbers to plant, and I've also got some dill to go in as well. And I feel like I'm planting them quite close together. The internet did say I could plant them 6 to 8 inches apart, though it also said that the rows should be 4 meters apart. But I'm experimenting this year. I feel like I've seen lots of people growing their gardens with plants super close together, and it just has been successful. So I'm gonna give it a go. I've got some dill here, and that's gonna go in the middle and probably in the little spaces in the outside. And it might be crowded, and it might be crazy, but I think it's just crazy enough to work, and I'm gonna do this the fast way. The snap is coming out again. Okay, the cucumbers are in, the dill is in. I've taken it from this little pot and transplanted all the baby dill, which was really finicky and took a little while. I was gonna plant radishes, but that just seemed a little bit too nuts, because I've definitely planted this thing a lot more densely than I have in the past, both with the cucumbers and with the dill. Oops, I forgot a cucumber. I have to go up and get another one. And so, yeah, I think leaving the radishes out is probably fine. So obviously I still have more work to do in the garden. I need to address this bed, that bed, and then definitely this one. But I still have time for that, and I'll get to the rest of the beds next week. I also actually still have to make a plan for the garden, so I'd love to do some companion planting, figure out what's gonna go well with strawberries. I'm open to suggestions. I also have tomatoes and basil, and then chili peppers are my main crops. And then I'll pick up a few other seedlings. Yes, more seedlings the next time I'm in town. And I'd like to draw out a whole map of the garden and try to plan things, and also see what flowers might work with certain plants, and just do a little drawing, come up with a plan, and I still need time to do that. So I think this little flurry of activity has left the garden looking really, really good, but still more to do, starting with these rocks and wood chips in the entrance to the garden. But let's say hello to these guys once again. They've changed location. They're just following me around, keeping me company, being cute and being lazy. But that's okay. That's the life of a cat. So you guys enjoy supervising me as I work really hard moving some massive stones around to just start the beginning of this raised bed. So I'm super tired, and I'm just gonna focus on getting 2 stones in and getting the wood chips down, and then I'm gonna call it quits on work. So wish me luck. Okay, so I think I like this. It's obviously the beginnings of a much larger and way more time-consuming project, but it looks good. Happy with the first 2 rocks that are in place. Let's get this little scrap of geotextile in there and tucked under. And now let's get this space tidied up and let's get this wood chip down on the entrance of the garden, the moment that I've been waiting for. I love this, guys. I absolutely freaking love the way these wood chips look. I'm obsessed with straw, and apparently I'm also obsessed with wood chips. I probably shouldn't leave the rake in the path like that. Safety third. So this is what I've been leading up to. Rock-lined beds and a wood chip-lined path. And I've said it a minute ago. I love it. I am so happy with how this is looking, and I can't wait to have the rest of the garden looking the same, but all in good time. I still have made loads and loads of progress in the past few days. So I am completely exhausted, but in the best possible way. I just feel gross, sweaty, dirty, and like I've done a hard day of work, which I have, and I have some amazing results to show for it. Love the garden bed, love the wood chips, and I just love that I can be outside and pushing forward on my garden and seeing, yeah, actual results finally. It still looks like a building site in some areas, and it looks really scary over there still. But over here, if you focus your attention, it's looking lovely, and I'm really proud of that. So I'm gonna call it quits from this video. I'm ready for a shower and dinner, and then probably an early night. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.